Okay, this next question comes from Lindsay, and Lindsay says, should I buy an email list or continue to research and create on my own? The background is I've been creating an email list of smoke shops, both online and brick and mortar, on my own and with the help of my sister. It's a slow process, but by doing it this way, I ensure that the companies I reach out to carry other brands rather than just their own. I would use the email list to send out cold emails to see if the brand is interested in carrying my product. Thank you. Okay, so this takes me back to the days of when I was building my last company, Lindsay, and my leads were hotels. And I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I would go to a hotel, and I found out that hotels had these books of all the other hotels in their franchise. So if it was a Hampton Inn, I would go to the Hampton Inn, and they would have this book of all the Hampton Inns in the world. And I'd go to the Homewood Suites, and they'd have a book of all the Homewood Suites in the world. And I would literally type all of those into an Excel spreadsheet because I didn't have the money to buy a list or pay someone else to do it. So I would work my butt off during the day, and then at night, I'd be sitting there watching TV, and I would be typing stuff into my computer from that list. And I was more so getting the phone numbers. I didn't need the email. This was before email marketing really existed. So I was just doing the name of the hotel, the address, city, state, and zip, and phone number. And then I would start calling them during the day. So later on, as I started to hire some people, one of my sales reps that I hired said, "Hey, Shawn, I don't know if you know this, but for a couple $100 now, and this is email marketing started to become a thing, and there were lead generation companies putting together lists." He said, "We can buy a list of all the hotels and management companies and ownership groups, and it's a few $100s." And I was like, "Go for it." And then ultimately, we ended up importing those into Outlook, and then eventually we got Salesforce.com. I think if the money is there, if you've got the budget to do it, I think buying lists is a fantastic idea because it saves so much time. But if you don't have the budget, you could do like I did. Many of us just still do it manually when we're first starting out until we start making sales, and that's just fine. But I urge you and caution you to not think about just doing email marketing, especially in that industry. I remember, I have a product selling to smoke shops and so forth, and it's a real relationship-oriented business, and they're really a face-to-face type of industry. I have a friend who sells to smoke shops all around the country, and his whole job is traveling. It used to be traveling all around the country and just visiting all of the stores and the locations and the big ownership groups and all that type of stuff. And it was a relationship-oriented business. One of the things I might consider if I were you is contacting the distributors and seeing if you can become a vendor on their distributor list. And then they have the relationships with all of the individual smoke shops. It's really going to be about getting 5 or 10 smoke shops to carry your stuff and then figure out how many people are buying it and what the repurchase rate is. You'll hear the Shark Tank and the Profit and those television shows, you'll hear them talk about, well, what's the reorder rate? That's what's most important. A lot of people say, oh, we're in 50, 60, 100 stores and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, what's the reorder rate? And that's when you really figure out whether there's a demand for the product. So you might go to just 5 or 10 and do some beta testing and say, hey, I really want to get this in your store. What do I have to do to get this into your store? Because I want to see if people are going to order it. So that's what I would do. I would rely, if it were me, I would rely more on phone calling. And maybe if I made a phone call and I left a voicemail, I'd say, hey, it's Shawn Thomas with Bling Blunts. Want to set up a time to come by and meet with you. I'm going to send you an email as well, just in case you might get the email. I'm just following up to be able to set up a time to come by and meet with you, or do a virtual call with you if that's what they're doing now. But as far as lead lists, I think it's great if you've got the budget. If you don't, do it manually. Both work until you get to a point where you've got plenty of money, and then you buy the lists. Either way, hope that helps.